We are on the BeeHive with Jay and with Johnny, who are really good friends of mine. I've known you guys for what, 4 years or so, something like that.
Wow, it's been that long.
It has. Time flies by, man. And you guys are nice enough to stop by and see us, and you brought your trophy with you. We'll discuss that later, what that's all about. But we're here to talk about poker. And the reason we're here to talk about poker is not only are you a poker champion, but, you know, we got young Jay here who follows suit, who's made it some, you know, big events, second place, or, you know, we're talking about stuff like that. But you know what you're doing when it comes to, you know, the game of poker. I've had the opportunity to play with you guys a little bit in home games and stuff like that. And you laughed at me a little bit, but you taught me, you taught me a lot, even though you made fun of me, but you taught me a lot about the game. Because you pick up something about the game from everybody. Now, what I wanted to start off with is a lot of people don't know how poker became so popular. But from what I remember, it was the year the NHL went on strike, and there was a lockout for about a year in 2000 and refresh my memory. When was that?
I forget the year, but I know there. Yeah, hockey
was it 04?
Yeah, it was around where the money, like Chris Moneymaker.
Yeah, I think that was 03, 04.
03, 04.
The World Series, yeah.
Because I remember right after that, Tampa Bay won the cup, and then we made it to the cup final, but it was like a few years before that. So 2003, 2004.
Yeah, something
so
like
there was a lockout in the NHL, and then everybody was kind of bored, especially Canadians, especially Edmontonians. So we started kind of learning about poker, and it was on TV, and we want to know what the game was about. But you guys, did you guys know about poker before then, or is this like recent, like 10 years ago? Or is this even before people knew about it?
Honestly, for me, I've only been playing seriously for 4 years. Like all the stuff you're talking about, I know nothing about.
Oh, really?
I had no interest in poker up until.
You're here to educate us, man, not the other way around. Okay. Jay?
Well, for
Has
me,
it been 4 years?
I was a late bloomer, so you know what I mean? I wasn't around.
Well, when do you want to start? When you're 12?
I wasn't around during the Moneymaker days, right?
Yeah.
When the action was crazy, so I've heard.
Yeah.
I've always played like Zynga poker and those, you know, those online games where you have millions of chips and they aren't worth anything, and you just go all in blind every single hand, all in.
Yeah.
That's actually when I first started playing. I was probably like 10, 11, played for fun.
Oh, so you were young when you kind of started dabbling in it.
Yeah, it was like I'd touch it, play around for a bit, but I never actually took it seriously. But I guess it's kind of like a subconscious thing over the years that I realized I actually liked the game.
You took a liking to the game.
Right,
yeah.
so
I can tell you when that was.
When
he came to Chris's home game.
Oh yeah.
He the first time he came, he won. I think after that,
so I was meeting him for the
first time. I think you were there too.
Maybe, but that was him starting out.
His first home game with us, and he won it. And ever since then, that's where the escalation came. Yeah. The interest it grew big time.
But that happens in anything. Let's say you play hockey for the first time and you score a wicked goal. You get addicted to the game.
That's how it goes.
You go into a casino, put 20 on whatever on a number, and end up making a couple $100. You're addicted, right off the bat. The best thing that can happen is you lose and get the fuck out, and then regret you ever did it.
Yeah. Exactly.
Okay, so you've also been doing it for what? How many years? Like actually taking it seriously?
I'd probably say about 2 years, 2.5 years or so, 3.
Okay.
Pushing it. Mm-hmm.
So we'll go with our elder. We'll go with Johnny. So obviously you got a trophy sitting there. It says APC Main Event Champion 2018. This at the Yellowhead.
Yes.
What kind of tournament was that? Like, for those of you that don't know, each casino in the city, not every casino, because there's the Grand Villa that doesn't have poker, but the River Cree, Yellowhead, Argyle, Century, and Gold Dust. Does Gold Dust have that?
I don't think so.
Or the old Gold Dust, now it's another Century casino.
I don't think they
don't have it.
I don't think they do.
So most of them have, and this goes to Calgary and Red Deer and all that, but and now actually West Edmonton Mall has got a poker room, but most of them have this room where you walk in, unless it's a Friday, Saturday night, usually have a couple of tables, and each table seats about 10 people with a dealer. So there's 11 bodies. And most of the time, the game that's preferred at casinos is 1-2 or 1-3, no limit. Unless you're at Century and you like to play bingo, and that's 3-6 and 4-8. But most of the time it's 1-2.
Yep.
Right. So just to give people an idea of what this is like, so they walk in there, and usually you buy in for $100 or $200, or some people buy in for more, but there's a limit to that. And then you sit down and you get 2 cards to start off. So maybe walk us through what poker is for people who don't understand community cards and the turn and the river and all that. Just the 2-card game.
Yeah, so basically you get dealt 2 cards, whoever's sitting at the table, And then there's things called blinds, which is the 1-2. So that forces action. So if you're in the blind, you're putting chips in, before you see any cards. So you have to either surrender your hand or you can defend them and play. And so the whole idea of that is to escalate the game. We're talking cash game, so it doesn't escalate. It just stays at like 1-2 or 2-5 or whatever. And then, everyone gets dealt 2 cards.
Unless somebody raises when it comes to their turn.
Yes. And then after all the players are in, the money's in the middle, we see a flop, which is the first 3 cards, community cards. And then the next round of betting happens.
Community cards meaning everybody can use the first 3 cards.
Yeah.
Like everything on the community cards, but the first 3 is a flop, but everybody can use it.
That's correct. So basically, by the end, there's 5 cards, and there's 2 in your hand. So you have to make the best hand out of all 7 cards.
Yeah.
You can only use 5 of them. So 2 in your hand plus whatever 3 you want on the board.
But you can use one of your cards if you had to. Say if it was a 5-card flush and there was 4 hearts on the community cards and you just had one big one or whatever, that's considered a flush as well. You don't have to use 2.
No, it just has to be a 5-card hand with 1 or 2 of your cards.
Okay. What could we tell people about from there? Obviously, there's the actions forced by having some money on the table, which is what the blinds are for. And then there's a button that is to the right of the small and the big blind.
The power position.
The power position. So why is that dealer button so important in the game for people that don't know?
Because that's the position where you see what goes on, all the action before you act. So you get information of what's going on before you can make your decision. So the small blind, the force bet, the small, the 1, and then the 2 is the big blind. They have to act first, and then whoever is behind them acts before you act on the button because you're in the direct right of them. So you have that information, what's going on. So there's a bunch of action people are raising before you. If your hand's not good, you should get out. Unless you're a maniac, and then you just bluff.
Yeah. So you get to see what if we're approaching it like a professional, we're trying to read each person and their reaction to looking at their cards, because you guys do that a lot, right? You try to pick up a tell on somebody if they look at their chips right away after looking at their cards or whatever the case may be. Being the dealer, you get to see all of that before it gets to you.
Yes.
And you can even have an opportunity to steal all of it if you just don't sense anybody's got anything powerful enough to call you if you make a big raise.
Yes, that's correct.
So what's the second most powerful position besides the button? What would you, is under the gun, which is to the left of the big blind, is that a good position to be in right off the beginning?
In my opinion, not really, because you're the first to act. And everyone
so you're the
gets
opposite
to see,
of the button.
Exactly.
You're like the first to go.
Everyone gets to see what you're about to do before it's their turn to act. But usually it's a sign of strength. When someone comes in from under the gun position, they know. Well, if you're more experienced, you know that all the other players get to see what you're doing. So it's kind of like it's like a mindset kind of game. Yeah, when you get to that perspective there. So a lot of the players usually, they show a sign of strength by then. So it can be a good, valuable position, but it also can be a very detrimental position as well, because you're always going to be the first to act, and they get to see what you're about to do first. Okay. So, do you guys have a favorite seat on the table? Because a lot of people run to their number. Like, I want to be seat 2, seat 9. Like, do you guys have a favorite number? We're giving away too much information for guys that are going to play.
I like at the end, to be honest with you.
Just so you can see more.
Yeah, I don't like in front of the dealer, right? Because for me, it's like when I was in school, I like to be in the back of the class. So for me, sitting at the end is like the back of the class.
Yeah. Okay.
So I'm just used to that.
Yeah.
You got the space there too, right? Like if you're sitting like right in front of the dealer, you've got 2 guys on your left and right, and if
where the corner gives you a little more play.
Yeah, exactly. You
to
got
stack up all those chips.
Well, sometimes.
Yeah, sometimes,
right?
sometimes. So, what's the difference between playing the home games and playing at the casino? Like, what's the advantage and disadvantage in you guys' opinion?
Oh man, the biggest advantage I'd say of having a home game is getting the boys together, getting the homies together. They can be girls too. Yeah. Girls play poker, but
you guys have a really good poker player that was playing with you guys.
Oh yeah, couple.
Randita was.
She's a cash game reg.
Yeah.
At Yellowhead.
Yeah, but she played with you guys before, right?
A couple of times, I think.
I've never played with her personally at those games.
But you guys ever lost to a woman? The whole thing?
I think
she came
tournament? I think she came in like second or third one time.
She's good.
Yeah.
She's good.
She's mostly cash game though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so at home, you guys aren't doing cash. It's more of a tournament, like winner takes all, or you split it with second place. The night's dragging on. Is that the idea?
Only if Kung Pao's involved, there's a chop.
Yeah. Does that guy still bring you food?
Eight-way chop.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I want $10.
Wait till Omar leaves, and then we'll chop it 8 ways.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's the advantage to having a home game is that you get to see a lot of your friends, and there's not much animosity. It's a lot of fun. Is it less expensive to have a home? Because I've heard of some home games, and I've been a part of some where it's actually more expensive to play in somebody's garage sometimes than to go to a fucking casino and spend $100.
It can and cannot be sometimes. Like if you're playing a game where it's just one single rebuy, and once you're out, you're out.
Freeze out, they call it.
Freeze out.
When you can't re-enter.
It doesn't.
Like one buy-in and that's it. If you're out, you're out.
Yeah.
But in a tournament, just so people understand, you walk in, you pay a fee, whether it's $50 or $100, you get a certain amount of chips that everybody gets to start off with.
Correct.
Unless they're late, then I think you guys
late reg
penalize them or something like that. But you start off with the same amount.
Yep.
So unlike a cash game, when you walk in, buddy buys for 500 beside you, you're buying in for 100. The tournament is it's a play where it's set at very even odds right to start off with. Everybody's got the same amount of chips.
Yep.
Right. So and then you basically play down to one or two people have everybody's money.
Yeah.
Yep.
Unlike a cash game where you could just stand up, cash out, and you're gone, whether you got $20 in front of you or 1,000.
Correct.
Yeah.
So the tournament, if you start it, you're pretty much in it for the long haul. So if it takes 3-4 hours, you got to be there till the or you want to be there till the end.
You're there until you have all the chips or you have no chips. It's one or the other.
Okay, so you got to set some time aside for a tournament play, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. For these ones, you got to set away probably like 3 or 4 days.
Okay, so what's the disadvantage to playing in a home game versus going to play at a casino poker room?
A lot of times home games are just like bingo. It's like you're saying, right? So a lot of the players that play home games are just come up, have a drink and just goof around, and they're not sometimes they're not as serious. They're just like they're playing cards that maybe they shouldn't, just trying to get lucky.
Yeah.
And then when they do get lucky on you and you like crack your aces or something, you go on tilt, which means you're really upset.
Yeah.
Like
we should show the
Johnny.
camera how upset you get.
Especially Johnny.
Yeah. Oh, 100%. I've seen him pissed off.
It's happened to me too many times. That's why I don't play home games anymore.
Yeah. And so what's the what's the advantage of what's the disadvantage to playing at home games besides getting run over by somebody? Do you feel like playing with somebody that is a rookie at the game is a disadvantage? Because I feel like it can be a big disadvantage playing against somebody that doesn't really know what they're doing, where they give away less signs and less information for you if you're trying to pick up on the strength of their hand. Is that true?
Well, I'll tell you one thing. Playing home games, sometimes the home game players are the ones that are in the tournaments like this because they'll buy in for a cheaper price and play a satellite, it's called. So it's a smaller tournament that gets you a seat into the big one. And so those players that satellite in, however, they get lucky or whatever, that's what I like about poker. Anybody can win on any given day. So they get into this big tournament through a satellite, and then they're like a home game player. So you have to know how to play home game players, even though you're playing like a bigger buy-in event, that they wouldn't make typically the same plays as a more experienced player would, or a pro, right? Because when they do something, you might read that before as like strong from a professional player that you played against, but really they're not. They don't know what they're doing.
Yeah.
So,
but they can get lucky too.
Yeah, it's tricky, but that's what I mean. You have to decipher how they play, kind of in terms of how strong their hand is. So that's tricky, but that's I think that's an advantage for me. Playing with these guys actually made me better because I've seen how they all play. So when I go into a table and I see players like that, I can like play accordingly. I can adjust versus just not knowing like what does that mean.
Plus, you find at a home game, there's more talk going on. And what I mean by that is there's more information that you're getting. I mean, more things you're learning.
Oh, yeah.
Like if me and you were playing a home game and you make like a super nice move against me, unlike a casino where I don't know you, I'm not going to be like, so what did you really have? You know what I mean? Like you're more enticed to give more information out at a home game because you guys are friends.
Yeah.
You can kind of tell them what you were thinking, or I kind of knew you were bluffing, or you always do this thing. So you're saying you learn more by playing with these guys because I think there's just more information to be gathered. Where a casino, everybody's got their glasses on, hoodie, they're trying to hide, they're trying to keep everything to themselves, barely showing their cards. Where at a home game, you tend to Not you guys are pros, but at a home game, you tend to flip your cards over a lot more than you would, playing at a casino.
Yeah, that's for sure. You gotta tilt your friends out.
Yeah, exactly. Sometimes you just do it to be a dick on purpose. It's all good.
But it's like I said, it's really advantageous to play just even if you're playing for like $20 buy-ins, $10 buy-ins.
Just get out there and play.
It's the fun of the game.
Get the feel
It's the
for
experience that really counts.
Yeah.
That makes it really advantageous. If you play more often than you don't, chances are you'll get better. You'll learn your spots better. You'll know how to play your cards and figure out the math and all those things that are really crucial. The fundamentals of the game.
Yeah.
So like just getting into the game all the time
it's fun. That's what it's about.
You learn.
So how about playing at the casino? What's the advantage and disadvantage there? We talked about the home game. How about like going there? What in your opinion? What's the advantage? What's the disadvantage to being there? Is it just as simple as the drive or not?
I've been playing in casino for a while, so I'll let Jason answer that because he's just he was in the transition from home game and then he's actually in the last year or so he's been going to these tournaments with me and playing in some of them. So I'll let him answer that.
Okay. So I'll tell you an advantage and a disadvantage. The advantage is you don't have to worry about taking your friend's money. So if you win this person's money,
you're still talking to your friends after.
You'll have no remorse.
You don't lose
over
friends,
it, right?
Yeah.
You won't be like, I bluffed you, like that kind of thing, and feel bad about it.
Yeah.
If you bluff someone, it's fairly won, right? So that's advantageous. You can grow, continue to grow. Most poker rooms are open 24 hours. You can go at any given time of the day.
That's true. Good point. So you can really go at any time to play.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
And a disadvantage, when you have a losing streak, the drive home.
Downswing. They call it a downswing.
Drive home. You drive home and you're like, oh, what did I do today? I lost money.
Yeah. Why did I even leave the house today?
Exactly. Yeah.
So the other disadvantage I think is the advantage of going to the casino, especially because are you playing tournaments when you go there, or is it more cash games? Is there like 50-50?
A mixture of both for me. The times that I don't feel like committing like 8 hours of my day, I would, I do quick 4 or 5 hour sessions.
Yeah.
That usually gets my fix in.
Yeah.
It's a fix.
Yeah, of course.
But yeah,
it's a game you want to play. It's like my fix with hockey. It's like I got to get out there and play sometime.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Get an itch.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. So you're. I was going to mention that you're playing at a casino, but you feel like you can cash out at any time. You can leave. But is it not true that obviously a house game is not as organized as the casino? Not with you guys, because I've been there. You guys are very organized. Yeah, you're on top of your shit when you run your games. But a lot of us that go play poker, in a garage or a buddy's house, which we do all the time. Unless you're playing with the right group of guys, there's a lot of dickery going on. You know what I mean? People are not paying attention. This guy's out for
controversy.
And this guy didn't mean to show his hand, or this guy said go, but he meant fold, or whatever the case may be. So there's a lot of that, where at a casino you don't have to worry about you controlling anybody's play or calling people out on the mistakes they're making, because that's the dealer's job or houseman to come over and fix the situation. So that's a big advantage, right?
That's one of the best parts about it too, is you don't have to worry about dealing. At home games, we usually don't have a designated dealer, right? Because everyone's playing.
Everyone deals there.
So you pass around the dealer, but the dealer button basically follows the cards.
Exactly.
Okay, so that's who's got the deck.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you guys ever get a dealer to deal? Is that better, or is just...
That'd be cool. I mean, like having a home game where you don't have to deal your own...
At the final table, when someone's like, sitting around or whatever, they usually volunteer to deal. So at the final table, they usually do. There's a dealer.
Yeah, the guy that's out first.
Yeah.
We'll give you $30. Stick around.
George, you said Jorge?
Oh no, calling him out. Is there... I can't believe you just called him out like that. He's gonna be pissed.
Shout out.
He's gonna unsubscribe immediately.
Shout out to Jorge.
Shout out Jorge.
He's my man.
So, have you ever caught anybody cheating in the 4 years that you've done home games? You don't have to mention the name or the situation. So, but have you yourself ever caught somebody or had a feeling that somebody cheated? Because the deck of cards is being passed around to each player. So if I'm being invited for the first time and I'm some sly magician that nobody knows, and I'm playing some trickery with the cards. Is there a way to cheat in poker? Like, can you cheat? Do you see it happening, or is it just people just think cheating is a big deal, but really it's so tough in the game because you have to control the community cards, what everybody gets.
In home games, I mean, from what I've seen, like no, because we don't just invite anyone to play. We just invite friends, and they vote for the other friends. So it's a pretty, like the last the few years that we played, including yourself in these games, it's been pretty like fun and clean. And you know, every once in a while there's a little bit of controversy if someone, like you said, acts out a turn and there's a big pot or something. But that's part of the game. But for the most part, no, I don't ever recall anyone like cheating or trying to cheat. Everyone's pretty legit. That's what makes our group good, right?
Yeah.
Good games.
Yeah. And how many people usually show up to the home game? Because most home games, it's one table. But I've been to yours where you've had like 4. I'm like, you should just have a fucking sign outside that
says
like
54 entries.
Casino Johnny.
Yeah. I wasn't around for that, by the way, so
yeah, that was at my place. Those are good old days where we had like 5 tables. And there was a wait list. Robbie was in on the wait list. He didn't even get in.
You had tables upstairs, tables downstairs. I'm like, holy shit, there's tables everywhere. But that's a lot of fun.
But there was no rake. There was no rake, so it was totally legit.
Yeah.
There was no money made for me.
Don't put this guy in cuffs, please.
Yeah. It's just for fun. Just getting guys together.
The entry at a tournament that's done at a casino, how many entries usually are there? I know they vary, but average, are they 100 people? These satellites that you're talking about that you enter to play the big events, are they 100 people, 200 people? What's the most? Obviously, when you go to Vegas and you play these big tournaments, you can have up to like what, 1,000 people?
Thousands, yeah.
Like thousands of people, and you're trying to be number one.
Exactly.
Yeah, I think it's up to like 6,000 entries.
Wow.
Yeah, for the main event, it's 6,000 entries. So that's
the big one in Vegas.
Yeah.
The WPT?
WSOP.
Okay.
Yeah, the main event.
There's no WPT?
There is.
And so what's the difference?
It's a different series.
Different series.
Yeah.
So is it just done at a different place? So it's named different?
They're in different places all over the world.
Yeah.
There is
a different tour.
Vegas.
They're European ones.
Exactly.
There's and so there's up to 6,000 entries?
I think the World Series main event last year had like 7,800 or something.
Whoa.
It was quite
And how much did each person pay
8,
to get in?
It's a 10,000 US buy-in. So
10,000.
Like 13
that's
Canadian,
a lot of money right there.
13 Canadian, so $13,000 Canadian. Each person divvies up.
Yep.
And there's 7,800 of them.
If we're
using last year.
Last year, yeah.
Okay, so if we're using that as an example, what's the math on that?
0.0000001%.
So there's 7,800 people, almost 8,000 people paying $10,000 US to enter this tournament. So it works out to about 13,000 Canadian. And then how long does that tournament take to basically figure out the last table, who's playing at the main event, or the last 10 standing? Does it take 3-4 days? Is it longer because there's more people?
Oh yeah.
So the more people, the longer. Like, it's not just a weekend thing. Sometimes it goes a week or
all
2
week
weeks.
long, yep.
I think it's a 10-day event because it goes 7 days, and then at the final table, it takes 3 days to get to the winner. I think they break it up into, like, for TV,
3 segments.
Yeah, segments. Yeah.
Okay. I didn't know that.
So you have to book a week off, so hopefully you make it to the end. But it's really
if you're not
against you.
If you're not back after like 9 days, then your family probably just gets super excited.
Yeah, you're doing good.
So what's first place for last year's tournament at a turnout like that? Like, are we talking
like 8 mil?
Yeah, it was 8 million, I think.
Yeah.
So you walk in there, you bring 10 grand or get sponsored by somebody to enter this tournament, and you have the potential to 10 days later walk out with about $8 million.
Yep.
So something that corresponds to home games is that a lot of people actually have home games as a satellite to play in the main event. So everyone divvies up maybe at like $1,000, and there's 10 players, and so whoever wins it, or 1,000 US, that's
everybody helps out that person.
Yeah, so someone at that table is going to go to play the main event, not somebody at a casino or somebody else.
Not because it's connected to them, but just through the funds of getting him that ticket to get in, kind of thing.
And then a lot of times people have like equity, so percentage of whoever wins, they get maybe 50% of whatever they cash, and the other 50% gets divvied up between the 9 players. A lot of people do that because you still have equity. Even if you don't make the seat, you still get something back if that player goes deep and cashes or something. It makes money.
Okay. So the other I guess advantage to playing at a casino is there's something called a bad beat, where at a home game, it's almost non-existent because you get badly beaten at a home game. You're just starting
unless I'm
your card
playing.
a little bit
And
early.
you go on tilt like this guy over here.
Okay.
Get it in good.
So a bad beat varies because each casino sets it a little bit differently, where it's got to be, jacks over aces or quads, or it can't be anything lower than a 10. But maybe explain to people out there what the bad beat is at casinos and how it works. Like give us all an idea. One of you.
Yeah, go ahead.
Whoever has anybody hit the bad beat here?
It's I've been a part of one. In actually years ago, I was in River Rock. I was playing just cash game 1-2, and this guy.
Where's River Rock?
In Vancouver, Richmond.
Okay.
So basically, this guy was going out to take a break, having a smoke. So as he went out to take a smoke, that changed the order of the cards, right? Because there's one less player dealt.
Do they deal him in?
No, they don't.
So what's the point of a courtesy hand when somebody asks for it? Or some casinos don't give you a courtesy hand?
I'm not even sure about that because all I know is that
sometimes people ask for it. Hey, can I get a courtesy hand? Then they go for a smoke just in case the bad beat goes, so you can consider them as a hand.
I don't know,
some people don't allow that. Okay, so having said that,
this is in the earlier stages of the bad beat. So basically, what it was in BC, it wasn't capped. Here in Edmonton, I think it's capped now, like 50 grand or something.
Yeah.
But there it wasn't, right? So what happened was this guy went for a smoke, and then that changed the order of the cards.
Yeah.
And I think for a bad beat, you need at least 6 players at the table. Okay. And it has to be a certain amount of money in the pot, like $20 or something. So anyways, this a big hand developed where this guy left, changed the order of the cards, and then one guy got dealt two kings, which is a second best hand, starting hand in poker.
Yeah. The best is 2 aces,
which he had. So there's 2 kings against 2 aces.
Oh.
So it was it was a raise, whatever, and then the pot was in the middle, and then the flop came. They both flopped a set. A set means 3 of a kind with holding a pair, right?
Yeah.
So it's trips, but you have a pair, right?
Yeah.
And then there's the same cards on the board.
Yeah.
So basically, I went bet, call, and then the turn. I think they got all their money in the middle because obviously set over set. And then the turn was an ace. No, turn was a king, and the river was an ace. So it was like quads over quads.
Quads over quads.
Like aces, aces over kings.
Well, that definitely qualifies because the bad beats quads over quads beating a full house, aces over.
Yeah, depending on the
queens
casino.
Or higher, or jacks or higher.
Sometimes it's quad 8s, right? Like I know in playtime in Kelowna, where I'm from, it's quad 8s. You have to beat quad 8s for a bad beat. So a straight flush or
so it's a little bit easier to achieve. Yeah, you hit it a little more.
So this is many years back, right? Yeah. So it was like crazy. It was like quads over quads. Everyone was like praying for a king on the river, and boom, it was a king. So anyways, I got $1,900 out of it because half of it went to the loser who had the kings.
So a bad beat is when they collect money over time, like over daily play. They keep putting it in a box from each table, and then it reaches up to 50,000 sometimes. But this one was at what? Was it 50K?
I think it was. I believe that one was 80. So the winner got like 40, and then the loser.
So the way it works is the bad beat gets split in half. The
Yeah.
person that lost the hand, not won it.
Lost.
So it would be the quad kings in that
Yes.
situation. So he gets half of that.
Yes.
Because he got beaten badly, hence the
Bad
term
beat.
bad beat.
Yeah.
So he gets half of that.
Yep.
And then the guy with quad aces would have gotten
a quarter of it.
a quarter of it.
And then
so
the table
it would be
share
40,
is quarter.
40, and it'd be 20.
Yeah, and 20.
And then the rest of the table splits that 20.
Yeah, exactly.
So each person, so everybody's a winner when the bad beat goes.
Oh, yeah.
Exactly.
Unless you're
Except for the guy who went for the smoke.
Yes.
But we all gave him $100.
Of course. I was going to say,
That's
most of the time when you're up like that, especially the guy that won 40K or whatever, I'm sure he gives him a few $100.
He came back. He's like, you guys never would have won that.
Well,
if
of
I took
course,
the
everybody
smoke."
says that,
Everyone's
right?
like, here's $100. Shut up.
There
Yeah,
must have been drinks
exactly.
going around
How much
all
you in
night
for
long.
today? Here you go.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
I
so-
got $1,900 out of it, so I was happy.
Yeah.
pretty
So
sweet.
everybody's pretty much a winner when the bad beat goes.
Yeah.
Okay. And when it goes, they basically start that pool all over again.
Correct. Until
Okay.
it gets hit again.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I wanted to bring that up because a lot of people forget about the bad beat.
Oh, yeah.
Because sometimes you see people favoring a casino because their bad beat's higher. So if you find out that Yellowhead Casino has their bad beat capped at 50 and Argyle is at 18,
They'll go play
and you
that
had
one.
to choose.
Yeah.
You want to play the one where if you do hit, it's much bigger.
Yes.
And there's some people that hit it back to back. I know a guy that hit it at Argyle. Back
it
to
Ringo?
Jojo, really dark guy, good looking.
Yeah,
black
yeah,
guy.
no, tall black guy.
Yeah,
Right? Yeah.
he hit it twice in 45 minutes.
wow.
So he hit the one that was capped and got the bad beat on that, and then got the big half on the other one.
What a luck
That's
star.
awesome.
The first one, I think he flopped quads, and then Buddy had a boat with aces, and then the other one, it was on the river, was a straight flush over straight flush. But he did it in half an hour. So I messaged him on Facebook to congratulate him. It was a $36,000 night.
Yeah.
Like just in that
awesome.
hour. So that's always a good payday, you walk out of there feeling pretty good.
I know most people don't even experience one in their lifetime sometimes.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
It's tough. It's a basically like the massive cooler. A cooler means a big hand over a big hand.
Yeah, and what's the most? This might be personal for family watching, but what's the most you've ever won? Like what was this tournament? If you don't mind me asking, what was the prize for that besides your gorgeous trophy?
It was 53K, but we got heads up. So my opponent and I made a deal to split the prize pool, and then we just played for the title, and I ended up winning it. So,
what was the prize pool?
I think the second was 30, was it 38, and then 53.
So instead of doing the 38-53, put it together, split it in half.
Yeah.
So it came out to like
45,
and then you
tipped
guys
the
just played for the trophy.
Yeah, we tipped the casino, and then off you went.
And you won the trophy.
Yeah, it was 2 pair over 2 pair.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was.
Such a cool way to go out. What was the 2 pair? Do you remember? Everybody remembers.
King 6.
Everybody's gonna remember the one that won him the trophy.
Yeah.
Okay, and you've been involved in tournaments, but how close have you gotten to getting a trophy of your own? Because you've only been doing it for 2 years. You're playing against guys
close.
that's
He was so close.
So close.
Really?
Not for all the marbles, but I got third and won the biggest score I've ever gotten. It was a little shy of 13,000. I pretty much committed suicide when it was like 3-handed.
Yeah.
I could have
We
waited.
should explain that. ICM suicide.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's an interesting topic too, especially in tournaments. But when you
I've never heard of that. ICM suicide?
the incremental chip model.
So basically, if there's
Just
a shorter,
knowing where you are in the bubble and
if there's
who's
shorter,
out next.
if there's shorter stacks still in the tournament, and you have a bigger stack, you don't want to go out next because you're basically with your chip stack, you're guaranteed to move up in the money. When these guys are shorter stacks, they're most likely to bust out or get eliminated. So he got involved in the big hand when he didn't have to, and then when he busted out, other people jumped the pay ladder, which they really shouldn't have because they had way less chips in it.
Yeah,
Okay.
and Omar, when you get to the top 1% of the field, that's when the pay jumps are huge, right? My third place, a little shy of 13,000.
Yeah.
Second was 18. So it was a $6,000 pay jump. I could have
just by
waited out
trying to
for.
make the right move, the right
Yeah.
player sitting out or
Yeah.
not playing a hand that you like King 10 suited and you're like, okay, I really want to play it, but I shouldn't just
Yeah.
in case. Okay, so you gotta, but I mean, that's part of a learning curve. Plus,
yeah, for sure.
13 grand isn't bad.
Oh, it's not bad.
What's
at
the
all.
buy-in for something like that? Is it like
For
30?
That one specifically was a $500 buy-in. So
$500? And then what? 7 hours later, you got 13.
it was a 2-day thing.
2-day
so
thing. Well, still
12
good payday.
and 12 and 10. So about 22 hours or so. Yeah.
Okay. And with the tournament, does it change with how many people get paid at the end? Like your top 10, top 5, top 3? Does it vary with each tournament?
Oh yeah, depending on the prize pool, right?
Yeah.
Especially, but it's usually the top about 12 to 15%.
Okay.
And they're usually really top heavy too. So once you get, like I said, to the top 1%, you're looking at thousands. Like if it's a $500 buy-in, first place can range from 15,000 to 30,000, right?
Yeah.
From our regional events. I've played.
And how many people enter that one? Just so people understand, it's not the 6,000 entries or 7,000
no,
entries. We're
not
talking,
that
it's
many.
more like 100, 120.
I think that one was about 300.
Oh, 300?
Yeah,
Okay.
300 some.
Okay. And that's why it takes a couple of days to get it done. Because some of these other tournaments that go on Tuesdays and Thursdays, and everybody's got their days at the casino. They're usually 90 entries, takes about 7 hours to determine a winner.
Yeah,
something.
Okay,
like
so
2
there
3
are
in one.
tournaments you can get done in one
yeah.
sitting, one night, instead of having the 2-day. Obviously, you want to do the 2-day one in
Yeah,
case
for
you
sure,
make
yeah.
it. Okay. So have you ever suffered a bad beat where you didn't hit the bad beat, where somebody just crushed? Like, what was I hate to bring you back to that because poker players don't like to think about when they lost badly, just as a lesson learned. But what's the most somebody's just absolutely pissed you off? Because there's no fights in poker. Let's not get it twisted. It's not a sport. It's not, you can't get up. Well, you can, but you don't get up and just punch somebody in the face for taking your money from you. But what's the worst you've ever felt at a poker table? The absolute worst, where
For me,
you really could have killed
There's
somebody.
too many bad beats I've taken in home games.
You've developed alligator skin.
Yeah, exactly. So
Okay.
that's actually helped me because when I take bad beats at the casino in these events, I just walk away. I just get up, whatever. I got a beat, and then leave.
You learn how to bounce back.
Yeah, I learned from these home games getting like beat bad by these guys.
You just keep picturing Jay's face when he lose badly. You're like, calm down.
Yeah.
Jay, what's your biggest loss?
I don't know.
He's
to
like,
be
who
honest
wants to
with you.
talk about that biggest loss? Like seriously.
But I know how I reacted.
Yeah.
The final
in my head, I was like, "Oh, I really want to kill this guy." You know what I mean?
Of course.
But I'm just, you know me.
And
I'm
you're
really
young, and nobody would
reserved
blame you
and
if you did
timid.
lose it. Us older guys are like, "Calm down, man. What's your problem?"
But
Relax, kid.
like I said, that's the one phenomenon of the game where you can sit out whenever you want. You can go for a walk. You can go grab a drink, grab some food. You know, clear your mind a little bit, right? So that's a really sweet aspect of it. Mm-hmm.
Good point. So what's
I want to hear your bad beat. How about you, man? What happened?
my bad beat is I was a part of 4 bad beats. You know, but I've been on and off with the game, just having fun with it for about 12, 13 years.
Oh, wow.
But never played it professionally.
You should be interviewing him.
never played it professionally, right? But the one recent one was for 50,000. It was capped, and it was at Yellowhead. And I stopped in for they have the salmon there. Shout out to Yellow Casino and their salmon on kale, unbelievable. It's like $30, but it is the best. And I was feeling that. Yeah. And poker, which not a lot of people know, you can like literally sit and enjoy a meal. It's not like, you know, you're not out on the casino floor playing VLTs and table games. You could chill. It's like a room with some people you know, some people you don't, but you can sit there and eat. So I'm sitting there eating, and I bought in for like $200, I think it was. I was down to 30. And I just threw it all in. I got king, queen suited, diamonds. So I chucked it into 30, literally turned over, finishing up my meal, had my jacket on, and I had a rookie beside me in seat. It goes seat 1 to 10 or 1
this way, clockwise.
Yeah, so he was in seat 10. I was in seat 9 because I like the corner seats too. This guy was sitting right beside me, rookie, because I was having a conversation with him. Brand new, never played the game, and not never played the game, but he's used to house games, so he's never played at the casino. So I get king, queen suited. I make it 30. He calls. A veteran calls, like a guy that's been in the casino for a while. So he calls 30, and then another veteran calls for 30. And we all know these veterans don't call $30 pre-flop unless they got something big.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking, okay, I probably lost this one. So it comes back to me, obviously. Nobody raised it from my raise. There was 5 callers, which is very unlikely. Usually if you have enough to call 30, somebody's going to try and steal it or whatever. Nobody did. The flop comes 6, 9, 8 of hearts. This guy bets out $20. This guy raises to 100, the veteran. I'm thinking, this guy goes 300. But I'm all in, so I'm just sitting with my $30, just finishing my meal, going, what the hell does everybody have? My diamonds ain't coming, obviously. My straight's probably not coming. I can't see that happening. So it turned out that this guy hit a set of 9s. That guy hit a set of 6s. This guy had 10-7 of hearts. So he flopped the straight flush.
Oh, wow.
They flopped, both of them flopped the set, which how often does that happen? Like, to flop a straight flush, let's just acknowledge that. That's pretty crazy. Yeah. But to flop a set, a little less crazy, but very hard to do. But to flop 2 sets and the straight flush, that's very hard. Yeah. So pocket 6s ended up hitting their quads on the turn. And obviously they went at it and realized like what they all had. So everybody showed their hand. The guy in seat 10 goes, hey, well, what's going on? I said, buddy, I think you just got like almost $1,900 for just sitting there. He's like, that is fucking awesome. Holy shit. And he starts celebrating. He's excited because everybody's hearing what's going on. You know how when the bat beat goes, everybody starts running over.
Yeah, the room goes crazy.
And so I realized what's happening. I'm like, does anybody want to see my cards? They're like, no, nobody can.
Just muck it.
Yeah, they just want to make sure it's real
anyways,
cards. So I didn't care. I made a lot of money that day, considering I walked in with $200. So this guy was happy. The river was, a brick. But I tell this guy, because to quiet him down a little because he was too happy, I'm like, listen, man, it could have been a lot more. He's like, what do you mean? I said, well, if a 9 hit the river, you'd have 25 grand and that guy would have 1,800. Like, imagine with pocket 6s hitting their quads that if 9 quadded up, that pockets, the quad 6s would have just got table share. Yeah. Like, how often do you lose with quads and just get table share? Yeah. So that's what happened. The two really nice guys, and the guy that got the 25K had been losing for like me. He wasn't doing well, but for the last hour, because I know him, he's an older man, but he was telling me it's just been a shitty day, man. Everybody's been rivering me. I've been losing everything, and then Obviously, he lost again, but just only so big that it got him $25K. So he was thrilled. Buddy was thrilled with $12K. This guy's a newbie, so $1,800 was unreal for him. I was happy because my meal's done now. My jacket's on, but I'm waiting for some cash. So that was the latest bad beat that I was a part of, which was about a month and a half ago. Congrats. Yeah, it was cool. It was just it was a good way to start off your day. You know what I mean? Do some shopping, whatever. But yeah, otherwise I've never hit the bad beat myself, but just been a part of it or watched it happen. It's as unlikely as seeing like a royal flush on the flop or on the board, which I've seen that before in Vegas. Like literally a royal flush was dealt out in order.
Wow,
like ace, king, queen, jack, 10, like on the board. I was like, what? I think crazy. I'll play the board.
We had one of those in one of our home games. It was a straight flush on the board. It was like 5, 6, 7, 8 of diamonds.
Really?
And it was
somebody
pretty cool
had
to
you did a 10?
Yeah, exactly.
That would be sick.
Yeah. So as far as tournament play and casino play and home games, we kind of have an understanding. What are some telltale signs you look for? Like, what have you learned? Like, obviously, you're not the guy you were 4 years ago starting out in the game. Not even close. You were easy to agitate. You were you didn't have the alligator skin that got built up. You'd be sensitive sometimes to the game and get upset really easy or happy really easy because it's hard to control your emotions too when you're in a good mood. Like, it's hard not to follow the rules at which you play by when you're doing well, because sometimes you think you're invincible and then you make a bad move. So what's some things that you guys look for do either of you, let's back up for a sec, do either of you actually make money playing poker? As in, like, you consider it sort of like a side gig and not just fun? Or
I do. Back in Kelowna, there was
How was Kelowna, by the way?
It's really good, bro.
You just up and left Edmonton, went to Kelowna?
You gotta come visit.
I went to Kelowna.
Why didn't you call
about 3 months ago.
Why didn't you look
And
me
I
up?
was thinking the whole time, who do I know in Kelowna? So I knew a few people, but we were too busy on the water and jet skiing and stuff. But we had fun. But Kelowna's amazing.
I would have took you out to the patio.
I know you would have, man. Well, I'm gonna go visit a friend in about a month or so. So
look me up.
Yeah, for sure.
So anyways, they had a labor disruption, playtime, and then I used to actually go there maybe 2 times a week. Like, I'm a rec player. Rec means recreational.
Yeah.
I don't play all the time. Like, these events, I only maybe go to a handful of them a year, like maybe 6 of them a year, because the work and everything, it's busy. So I usually just get out on the weekends. It's a getaway, and I just do the local stuff like Calgary, Edmonton, whatever. So the local casino in Kelowna is called Playtime. I used to go there before the labor disruption, and I used to easily like make $1,000 a week. Yeah. Sometimes you lose a couple hundred, 400. Sometimes you make 1,200, 1,600.
Yeah.
So on average, I'd make like maybe $1,000 a week. So that was my side money.
And what are the hours equivalent to the $1,000 a week? Are we spending 30 hours that week, or are we talking about?
We're talking like
3
to 5 hours.
Oh, okay.
That's it. So I'd go there.
So definitely worth the money.
Yeah, I'd roll in there like on a weekend.
Yeah.
Like I would usually when going on a weeknight. It's I'd go like maybe on a Friday night. Like after I walk my dog, put him to bed. And
how's your dog doing?
He's good.
Fuck, you love that dog. I do not want to be around the day that dog dies. You won't hear from this guy for like a year.
No, that's good.
I feel you.
So, anyways, I would. I would
have that painting of him.
Yeah, I do.
Okay, I'm not gonna make you a painting. You already have one.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind another one though.
Yeah. I knew you were gonna say that.
We'll talk after.
All right.
So, anyways, I would go there, roll in there like 9, 10 o'clock at night. Like that's a good thing about casinos and cash games. You don't have to like call your buddies and say, "Hey, let's get a game going. Let's get a game going." You just
you set these things up, so you know how hard that is.
Yeah,
that takes like a week's worth of work.
Yeah, and then people come in late, and it's like whatever.
And you have to text everybody that day, and your phone's blowing up while you're playing late.
Yeah, so organizing it is a lot of work, but it was worth it. Got everyone together.
Yeah.
So we just walk into the casino. You put your name on a list. If it's not full, if it's full, I mean, and if it's not, you just walk in, you sit down, and you play with all these people that most of them are just regulars that play there on a regular basis, where you know them. So if you played them before, they have an image. Images, kind of
a set way they like to do things.
Tendencies, right?
Yeah.
So basically, you label everybody how they play, like a tight player, loose player, passive aggressive, whatever.
Do you try to spot those people early on in the game?
I do. When I sit down at the table, the first thing I do is just try to like figure out who's who and who plays how they do and what hands they show down, and then that gives me a better idea of how I can play. So if I see this older guy, generally they're tight and they don't play unless they have it.
Yeah.
So those are the ones
they're using retirement money.
Yeah.
They're marks.
Yeah. So you don't try to bluff them.
They're
right?
marks. This guy's like
you're
an
marking
assassin.
everyone on the table. You're trying to figure out who you can assassinate.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay.
So anyways, you go there and you just kind of figure out how everyone plays, and then you just adjust to their game accordingly, how to try to exploit them. That's all it is poker is just trying to exploit people and getting their money or their chips. So either tournament or cash. So whoever does it the best wins, right? And obviously luck and getting cards and playing them correctly is a big part of it, but sometimes you don't need a hand to win. Like if the board texture is like 4 hearts and you know that guy's got a pocket pair, then and you have like, you know, something that you can bluff him with, like you represent the ace of hearts or something, then obviously he's going to fold, right? He's not going to call with like without a big hand. So
what's your advice to people that say, well, it's all luck? Why would I want to learn how to play poker when it's just a bunch of cards and whoever gets lucky gets lucky? What's your answer to somebody like that says it's luck? Like, why is it always the same faces that you see at final tables? Like the movie Rounders talks about, like it's always the same few guys that you keep seeing. So are they just doing something special? Are they cheating? What is it that makes it? I mean, because a lot of it's luck, but a lot of it isn't luck. So are you just trying to be on the side that isn't luck, like try to be a little smarter about it? Maybe 51% versus 49%. Like how does?
It's all about like the long run, right? Poker's all about a long run. Like you can take 3 bad beats in a row, but if you get your chips, your chips or your cash in good, over the long run, let's say you have an 80% hand, like kings over queens, like you're gonna win 8 times out of 10. So just because you lose 2 in a row, over the long run, you're gonna win 8 out of 10. Even though you lost the first 2, you should win the next 8. So you can't really base it on like a short sample. You know what I mean? You gotta like stretch it out. That's
so if you have the best hand on the flop, and you're putting all your money in or making a big raise, but some dummy on a draw calls you and wins. What you're saying is you'd rather be that guy that has his hand made on the flop because 7 times out of 10, you're going to take it down. Where the other guy's hoping he hits. So you're saying even though you lose and even though it's luck for the other guy, in the long run, the law of averages says you will find your ace. You will find, that you're on the winning side of things.
That's correct. So if you win 70% more than 30% than you lose, then you're a winning player, right?
So you're going to lose in poker. It's just you're trying to keep your money when you know it's not safe to put it in, and you're trying to really go for it when you know that you have the best hand. But
when you're ahead,
it doesn't work out that way.
Exactly. So when you're ahead, you want to get your money in because most of the times it'll hold, but sometimes it doesn't. But it will hold more times than it doesn't. Right.
So you're just trying to be on the better side.
Exactly. And then the thing about luck is that we like to call it variance. Okay. Luck is like when you go play blackjack and you get dealt cards and you hit, and then like you're lucky if you get 21 and you don't.
Your money's in there before the cards are dealt. Where with poker, you get the cards and then you figure out what you want to do, how much you want to risk, if anything, or you just want to wait for a better hand. Where
or
blackjack, you're putting it in there and hope that you get your...
or you can win a big pot by having nothing, just playing maybe the player or the board texture.
Because you don't have to show your cards in that game just because you win a pot. Some people just fold to you because of how aggressive you're being, or some signs that you're giving them that might be giving them the idea that you hit a flush on the river, or hit a pair, so you might have a boat. So you make a big bet and people just throw it down to you, and you could literally in the back of your mind you're like, I had 7 deuce offsuit.
Exactly. So it's just what you represent, right? So if you represent something big and someone has a big hand, they can fold to you, and you can win with a worst hand. So that's the thing about poker, where you can actually win with a really bad hand. Where you call that luck, I call that skill. Right? Be able to read people and making a play on them when you know they can fold.
Plus, it feels a hell of a lot better when
then you show it, and then you show it,
and then you
show
it
the
whole
image.
thing. The guy needs to go for a smoke. He's pissed.
Exactly.
So, in your young career, because you're the younger generation, what have you learned in the last couple of years about the game that makes you so much more different than you were 2 years ago when you kind of started playing these home games? What have you learned? What are some core, like your top few things that now that you made some mistakes before that you don't make anymore?
Yeah, you know what? When I first started playing, it was bet, aggro. Just trying to get them off the hand.
Isn't it usually not bet when you start? Usually you're the guy holding on to it. You were the reverse. You were like the aggressive guy.
I was always the one that was trying to get people off the hand.
Just trying to show off.
I didn't have to show my cards. As long as they threw their hand away, I get to rake the pot in, right? Took a little bit of losing to learn that that's not the way to win
poker. But let's just make sure we understand that poker is an expensive game to learn, because it's going to cost you some money learning it, right?
But aggression does help, like he said, timely aggression, knowing when to be aggressive in the right spots, knowing you got to be a mixture of being on the loose end and being on the tight end, because in the spots where you can make a play, like fold a hand that could have some equity possibly, but turns out to be a good fold, saves you money in the long run too, right? Like if you make the right plays, you bluff in the right spot, when you pick up on those strength tells, right? That's like the huge thing that makes you from an average break even or even losing player to even becoming that winning player.
Plus,
right?
if you don't have to show your hand, then that's less.
Keeps them guessing.
It keeps them guessing. What did he have there? Yeah. And some of them literally think about it for like an hour later. They're like, so what'd you have there? It's like, you're still thinking about that hand? I had nothing, man. Or I had you there. Or whatever you got to say. But not showing your hand keeps them guessing. So there's some guys that literally make a habit of never showing their hands. Oh, yeah. Like keep you guessing all the time unless you're trying to put them on tilt or something like that.
Once
like
you show your hand, a lot of people too, as soon as they see your hand, they put you as this kind of player. Like, oh, this guy's a big bluffer. And then you got to figure out what they think about you as soon as you start showing your cards, because now you've revealed something, right?
Yeah.
If you don't show your cards, there you keep them guessing. They don't know if you're bluffing. They don't know if you actually had it, and they're stuck wondering what happens here, right?
This is when you change gears. Okay, you build an image. So if you make a big bluff and you show it, everyone knows that you're capable of it now. So next time
you might have it.
Yeah. So you want to build that image. So next time you kind of want to change gears and tighten up. So next time you're in a hand, you have a big hand, everyone thinks you don't, and then you get called and then you get paid off that way. Or the other way, you can show a hand, you have it every time. So every time someone's involved in the pot with you, and later on in the tournament, when the blinds are high, that's when you start stealing and you start bluffing. Then everyone gives you credit because all you've shown was big hands, right? So it's all a mental game. It's all about adjusting and like switching gears and playing differently. Adapting to the situation, right?
Yeah.
And the players.
Yeah. Is it a myth to wear glasses on a poker table? Like, do you find that it helps? Does it help? Do you guys wear glasses?
I personally do during tournaments.
Why?
Just because it keeps me calm. Just having less lighting coming into my eyes, I feel a lot more calm.
Why didn't you wear any for this podcast? I was gonna say we should wear. Yeah, exactly. But I was thinking we should wear glasses because it's a poker conversation, right? Just to be funny, have like our hoodies on, glasses. Yeah.
But there's some casinos, some events, like I know the one in Calgary and Grey Eagle, because it's got live reporting and it's a high profile event. They have all the fancy lights and it's really bright.
Yeah.
So depending what table you're sitting in, if you're one of the middle tables, the lights like this, like right shining on you, and they're colorful, right? They're red, green, and whatever. Yeah. So it's like it's hard
it's hard not to have a seizure like an hour later.
Staring at it for 8 hours. Yeah.
Those are the times
that your ace four starts to look like pocket aces. Then you lose.
Yeah.
Those are the times you wear shades. Yeah.
Yeah. Should have known it was both diamonds. Shit. So what's so that's not a myth. People don't just wear it to protect their eyes. Are people wearing it to hide what they're actually thinking or feeling? Do you get a lot of? Is it more body language that's giving you an indication of what the person has, or are you watching the eyes? Like, what do you look for more? I know we're giving away some secrets to the guys.
There's so many external factors. Like you can be the one that has like dashing eyes, or you can be the one that has a neck that throbs like.
Well, it helps if you're Asian. Your eyes are almost hidden.
Yo, that's exactly it. That's my strong
so racist, Omar. It's my podcast. I can be racist if I want.
That I'm not even like my eyes aren't even open. You know what I mean?
He's going in
Omar, you should wear glasses. You googly-eyed bitch.
He's going all in blind.
Yeah, right. So is there any other things that you pick up on besides maybe how fidgety somebody is? Whether they're still eating their food while they're in the hand, like is there anything that you've picked up over the years that kind of give away certain things or things that you don't like when somebody does? Like what bothers you on the poker table?
No, going back to that one question where the picking.
Yeah, I want you to answer two of them. two questions.
You're gonna have to ask me that again in a second.
Yeah, sure.
So I actually picked up on my own tell was in one of those home games where I would be bluffing and I'd start talking. I'd be like, "Oh yeah,
of course, that's a big tell." Yeah.
I didn't realize that I was just trying to act like I'm confident but I'm actually not. Yeah. And people actually pick up on that, and that's how I learned to figure out, when someone's actually doing that, it could be. But now there's a psychological game again where you can pretend that you feel like you're confident, but this person knows that you're just you're just acting, so
Yeah.
you're actually confident kind of thing.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
that's where the
So
leveling
there's like
wars
a mind game
Yeah.
going on.
It's a psychological game.
And some
right?
people even ask you. So you got to flush, and depending on what your answer is, that makes their decision for them.
Yeah.
So do you want me to call? Like, for example, you'll tell somebody, "Do you want me to call you?"
Do you want
And-
action?
Yeah. Do you want action? And they'll be like, "I don't care, man." You know what I mean? Like, you're trying to
Yeah.
pick up like how strong this guy is. Does he actually want me to call or not want me to call? And sometimes if you say to somebody, "I want you to call," and then you call knowing that he's trying to disguise that as strength when he really doesn't want you to call. So there's a lot of that in pro. But I think that's what makes the game so much fun. Otherwise, we'd all be playing card games at home. And there's, in my culture, there's a lot of card games that Lebanese people play that I don't understand. Poker just seems to be like this universal language that everybody uses with cards. Now, most of our discussion, but I'll let you answer what bothers you about people at a table first. But then I got another question for maybe Johnny. But what bothers you on a table for both of you? Like what really angers you the most? Is it the guy that's always taking fucking 2 minutes to make a decision?
Bingo.
Yeah.
Like when you're playing these events, the thing that makes me the most irritated and annoyed is when someone makes a bet and then someone like makes like a raise or all in and then they take forever to decide. Like poker is like chess. You should think like 2 or 3 steps ahead. Like if I do this bet and
you should already be thinking by the time it gets to you.
Well, even before you act, you should be thinking, okay, if I put in a bet here and I get raised, you're already going to know if you're going to re-raise, if you're going to flat, like call, or you're going to fold. You should already have that in your head.
Yeah.
So what really bothers you when people just make moves and then someone goes all in and then they're like, oh, and then they think
like
forever.
you should have kind of known that move was coming, maybe depending on the guy's stack, what he had left. It's like, obviously he's going to go all in.
Yeah.
He's only got another 200. Like he's, you know what I mean?
To me, that's the most annoying thing, like not knowing. And it's not just because it's like for experienced players. Yeah, it's just like for beginners, whatever, like home games, whatever. But like when you go to these events, like when you're playing for a lot of money and stuff, like kind of know what you're going to do before you do it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Otherwise,
try to be a little more professional.
Yeah, just because blinds go up. So, if you have a short stack, the blinds are going up. You
and
have
the
less big
blind's
blinds.
like 20% of your stack. It's
Exactly.
like you should know that it's around that time to make a move.
But if you have a mountain of chips and it's on the bubble, like I don't care, take your time.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I'll just sit here,
just sit here.
try to figure out what I'm gonna do with all this money when it gets to me.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's really.
Jay, what pisses you off?
I actually agree with that. When someone takes forever, when it's such an easy spot to for this person, like you don't need to take more than 5 minutes to figure out what you're gonna do. It's acceptable to take some time. You got to play out your possibilities and figure those things out. But when you're taking longer than 5 minutes, it's
5 minutes.
But wait, this is personal. You said this is a personal. What annoys you personally?
Yeah.
It's not that it's wrong and everyone should.
No, it's not wrong.
Yeah.
They can call the clock on you, and then somebody will come over and give you like a minute to think about it.
Yeah, I just want to make sure it's clear that it's just my personal pet peeve when players take forever.
Yeah.
Not that you shouldn't.
Johnny doesn't want to upset any of you listeners out there.
Don't unsubscribe. Don't unsubscribe.
Yeah, right? If you haven't.
Yeah, don't get me wrong. Like, if you're in that one spot where it's like you are taking your time, that's fine, because sometimes you do need the time to think. But
especially if it's all in.
Yeah.
And it's for your tournament life.
Exactly. Yeah. If you're doing it very often, where it's like every second hand you take 1 minute, 2 minutes, then that starts to get annoying because you're slowing down the game. And that's what a lot of these, prestigious tournaments and stuff like that are actually implementing into their games.
Yeah.
A 30-second shot clock. If you need more time, you have these plaques that you can throw in for 30 more seconds.
Yeah, I've seen those,
So I really like that concept.
Yeah, I like it too.
It speeds up the game. It makes it more of a professional manner. So
at least that's being acknowledged.
Yeah,
like with tossing in that, like you're using that, like it goes back to thinking ahead of time. Like you're using it for a reason. You're not just sitting there because you're just a slow thinker and you're just taking up everybody's time. You're actually using that for a purpose as a decision to be made, where most of the time you're calling the clock on somebody.
Yeah.
Is there something like that? Obviously, most of the conversation we've had is about the 2-card game, but a lot of it applies. Everything we've talked about, almost everything we've talked about, besides some of the rules, apply to a game like Omaha or Pineapple or Crazy Pineapple. Are you guys into PLO at all?
You know what? The first game,
because I tend to enjoy that game.
Bingo?
Come on. How's that bingo? Just because you're playing against 22 players.
And nobody folds.
That's what it feels like, yeah.
Yeah.
Everybody's got a piece of it.
before these home games with him playing Texas Hold'em, I played a lot of Omaha with my friends, and we were inexperienced Omaha players, and we just were inexperienced in poker in general.
The world was your oyster.
This is where it gets unorganized. That we were talking about how home games can get unorganized. People take forever. Like me and my friends, we didn't know what the hell we were doing, like who it was on. Like it would get crazy.
A 1-card flush doesn't work. It's like you need to use 2. So Omaha, for everybody that's out there, it's just like the 2-card games like Texas Hold'em, but you're dealt 4 cards. But the only difference is you have to use 2 of your cards. So if you're trying to make a boat, for example, you pretty much need the board to pair with a set that you might be holding. So you can't just do it with 1 card. So if there's, for example, 2 queens and 2 tens, and you have 1 queen in your hand, and that's not a boat. If there's 3 of a kind on community cards and you have a pair in your hand, that's considered a boat. So you have to use 2 cards, whether it's a flush, a straight, a boat, something like that. A boat is when you have 3 cards over 2, which is like
full house.
Full house. Yeah. So pretty much everything we talked about, because I enjoy Omaha for whatever reason. When we play home games, we play Omaha. But I really like Omaha. I tend to do better, not because there's more cards to more cards to use, but maybe it's because I'm a looser player. I'm not so tight, but I find I'm more disciplined with Omaha.
You lose?
Sometimes.
Oh, wow.
Sometimes. Why? You don't fucking lose ever? But 4 cards is, I find I'm more disciplined playing Omaha than I am Texas Hold'em. Okay. Don't ask me why, because it should be the other way around. You should be looser because you have more options with 4. But I feel like if I don't have anything strong with 4 cards, I don't kid myself about it. Where with 2 cards, I'm almost downplaying what you have because he only has 2 cards. What are the chances he has a king? And that's the case king. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, with 4 cards, you have more opportunity to hit more cards on the board too. Right?
Yeah,
like you were mentioning,
more possibilities.
Yeah,
but I find I'm just more disciplined with Omaha.
It might be the fact that because you can hit more cards, that that they'll have more than just
you're almost giving them the benefit of the doubt more than you normally would, where if it was just 2 cards, everybody had them.
Yeah.
Okay. Your the other, we should, since we're talking poker, we should mention the other 2 games, which is Pineapple, Crazy Pineapple, and
there's a bunch of other games that.
But for the most part, like what you'd run into in the city, you'd run into Pineapple, which is you get 3 cards, and you got to get rid of 1 after. Before. Oh, that regular is when you get rid of it before. Yeah. You get rid of 1 of them and you got to keep 2, so then it goes back to a 2-card game.
Exactly.
Yeah. And Crazy Pineapple is when you get rid of it after the flop.
After the flop.
After everybody's seen the first 3 community cards before the turn and the river.
That's an exciting game too.
Yeah, I like that. But that's dangerous too, because
it
combines both Omaha and 2 cards, because then you're like, what the hell did he get rid of?
Like
for sure he's got
medium.
2 diamonds.
Yeah.
So where should we go with this conversation and poker and what we're talking about things that piss us off, and you guys mentioned some good ones. I have a guy, and I don't give a shit if he's listening to this podcast, because I know he is. Good friend of mine. I'm not going to say his name, but he likes to play poker. So once in a while, he'll call me like once a month and we'll go together, but he hasn't played poker as long as I have, so he doesn't understand some of the things, and usually likes to sit beside me. He is a fucking chatterbox. I mean, for as much as I chat, I don't speak when I'm playing poker. Like, I got my headphones on, I'm watching my movie, I'm on my phone, whatever. Yeah. But this guy talks about every hand that he gets. And I got pissed at him the other day because the dealers think he's cute and it's fine, but other people on the table are like, fuck is this guy's problem? Every time the action comes to him, he's like, well, I mean, I don't know what you have. I see it. This is exactly what he did the other day. I'm not even kidding you. Man. He is the most annoying. He's a good man, but he's the most annoying when it comes to poker. So I know he knows who he is. I'm not going to mention his name. He's listening for sure. But, he'll say things like, it'll come to him, and he'll be looking at the board, and he'll be like, well, there's a 7 of clubs, a 9 of diamonds, and a king of spades. I don't know if I have anything here. It's almost like the guy that thinks out loud. It's like the complete opposite of what poker players are supposed to do. Yeah. He riles me up. Like, I'm just like, let's get the hell out of here, man. You're horrible. You're annoying. So
how many outs do I have?
Does his name start with a G?
Yeah.
Yes, I know who you're talking about.
It. That's not cool. So
He
yeah,
is
that's
fucking annoying.
I unfortunately don't.
That's what bothers me about that guy, because sometimes we're playing poker, but we like our quiet time. In a home game, it's hard. You don't want to be that guy in a home game with all your friends with your headphones on watching a movie. Everybody's got to remind you you're up next, you know?
Yeah.
But in a casino where you don't know a lot of people at the table, I don't know if you do it in a tournament, but do you bring your headphones? Do you like to... Do you like to entertain yourself? Or is it more now because there's so much money on the line, you're so focused that you don't want any distractions?
Honestly, I don't know what it was, but I used to always wear headphones. I used to listen to music when I played. And I think after like the end of 2016, for some reason, I just like stopped listening to music. I just don't.
Can I tell you what it is? Because I already know.
What?
You stopped listening to music because if you're ever, well, obviously, first of all, if you were winning doing what you were doing before with the music, you would have just fucking enjoyed the shit out of it and kept going. But if I'm listening to my favorite song and you river me, I hate that song from now on. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, that's no longer a song I want to listen to. That's no longer my type of music. So I feel like when you lose and you're occupying in your favorite movie or your music, or you're distracted at the table, you start hating those things. So you go home not wanting to watch that movie. Is that... Subconsciously, I'm not saying consciously, I'm saying subconsciously, is that something that you ever think about? That maybe if somebody upsets you at a table, whether it's rivering you, a bad beat, whatever, and you're listening to some of your favorite music, because obviously that's what you're listening to.
No, honestly, I think it's because I lost my earphones. And I just never replaced
I'll
them.
transfer you some. Says the guy that just won what? How much was it? 40 grand? 45 grand?
Johnny's Poker Fund.
So what happened was, I can't even remember why. I just stopped listening to music. So when I go to the poker table, I have my phone, of course, where you just play on your phone, Facebook, whatever, text. That's it. That's my entertainment. That's my music when I fold a hand.
How about you, Jay? You always got your headphones on.
I like it.
You're always got your stuff with you.
In the beginning of the tournament, where it's usually just like, slow, everyone's just doing their thing. I prefer to like have some time pass by listening to music and all that fun stuff. But once you get further, once you get close to the money and when the action starts to matter more, I feel like listening to music is more of a distraction by then.
Yeah, for sure.
So I prefer to like be able to focus and chit chat with people around.
Well, sometimes the chat that's going on is very relevant to what's happening in the game.
Oh yeah,
like if I have my headphones on, like I do now, and we're playing poker, I might not realize that Johnny's upset.
Yeah.
Like I might not be able to pick up on his beautiful poker face that he's mad. But if I take my headphones off, I might hear him kind of chatting with you or just saying something. Or
banter.
Johnny could look at somebody and say, fuck, what an idiot that guy is. But I could miss that completely. But that's a dead giveaway. That
Johnny's said that many times.
Yeah, of course he has. But it's a dead giveaway that you're pissed off at somebody.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that might affect you emotionally, let's say, just for example. So I think those little telltale signs that you normally would pick up on without all those distractions end up being such a crucial part in a decision you might have to make. Especially when you're getting down to like a final table or 4 or 5 guys left, or there's fucking 45 grand on the line. I can watch my favorite movie some other time or later. You know what I mean? I need to focus. Or like you mentioned, chatting with the guy, you might be trying to fish for information yourself. Maybe
I'll tell you a story.
Yeah, go ahead.
Actually, at the final table, I was actually trying to rebook my flight at the final table because I always book a flight at 11 o'clock on Sunday.
Yeah.
And these tournaments go longer than that if you make a deep run.
So you're rebooking it because you realize I might be playing the next day.
Past.
Yeah.
So basically it's like 9 o'clock p.m. and my flight's at 11. So this is the time I need to decide, am I rebooking my flight or am I going to make my flight?
Yeah.
So at the time I had some chips. So I was like trying to rebook my flight. And then I was literally at the final table, like 10 people. And I was like trying to rebook my flight. When I folded, I was like trying to book my flight.
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, what I did is just canceled it because there's $100.
Because it's worth it.
Yeah. There's $100 cancellation fee, which was probably the same price as another flight anyways.
Yeah.
So I just booked a flight the next morning and went to work the next day. I had zero sleep. Because when you win, you're on a high, right?
Yeah.
All your adrenaline is like keeping you up.
Yeah, of course.
So I didn't sleep for like 2 days.
Did they give it to you in cash when you win?
Yeah, it was like
bricks of cash.
So when you take all that, do you ever worry that you're gonna get jumped in the parking lot?
Oh,
maybe not you, but
this is what
I
you
see
do.
these little old Asians, like 80 pounds max, soaking wet. He's got like this many hundreds with him. I'm like, this guy's not afraid of like somebody like, because these guys actually, there's some people out there that make a living that way. Like,
wow.
I've heard some crazy stories. I don't know if you heard about the Argyle one. This was about, I think it was 2009 or 2011, one of the two. But he won a lot of money. He won like 56K or something like that. He went home. So what these guys do, and I hope these guys are listening because I want somebody to take this advice in case they ever win big money like that, is they'll follow you out of the parking lot, like just normally, I'm leaving, you're leaving, big parking lot. So they'll follow you home just about, if they figure now you're in residential, almost at your home, they'll hit you with a car. Like just bump into you. There's just a rear, even at the light right before your house, they look around, there's nobody around. They'll bump into you. What do we do when we've been hit from behind? We're not going to be like, sorry, man, I'm not getting out. I got 60K on me. You're not thinking that's related. But they and it's happened to a restaurant owner that I know that was in our community. It was like a life and death situation. Cashed out his VLTs and he had money on it. But same thing. They track you down and they don't make it obvious. They're not rushing the car, opening the door, trying to find the money. They just give you a little bump. And then obviously it's an accident. So you get out with your ID and you're not going to get out with the cash. You're going to get out with your ID and your information. And you're going to exchange. But while that exchange is going on, that's when they rob you.
Wow.
So it's just as simple as so if you're ever cashing out at the casino 100 grand and somebody bumps into you, that's not stop. An accident. That's for real. They're trying to get your money, just fucking speed off.
See, there was a catch.
Fix the bumper later.
There was a catch. This tournament ended at like 1:32 in the morning. So there's not many people
and
around.
The times that these things end are just like the perfect time for somebody to snag it from you.
Then it had security escort us to the car. Yeah. And then we left. And then
security was probably smaller than you.
Yeah.
By the way, I'm sorry, but those security guys at the casino, I don't see one of them that's in good shape. Why are they all fat bastards that are like I'm thinking if I ran out of here, this guy would never be able to chase me down. Like most of them. And they're older guys, and I know not a lot happens at a casino, but it's just funny because they're not if you had like the bar security there.
Bouncer.
Yeah, people would think twice about doing some stupid shit like that.
Yeah, you just like check behind you, make sure you're not being followed, and then you're fine.
Yeah. So you got escorted.
Escorted to the car. I had a getaway car ready. So they escorted me to the car.
So you really knew you were going to win. Yeah. You had that ready. You had the homies
ready. No, that was after at the cash cage.
Oh, okay.
I arranged that at the cash cage. Okay, start the car, warm it up because it was in January.
Yeah.
And then have it waiting, and then security escorted me to the car.
Yeah.
Closed the door, we left. No one followed us, and we got a ride home.
Okay. Yeah. There's a big difference between guys that play poker and guys that go to the casino to gamble. So a lot of people say, oh, you play poker, you're a gambler. And it's like, yes and no, because when I go to the casino, I don't go to either put my money up first and play a table game or put it in a machine and hope for the best. It's more strategic than that. So I find that real poker players don't ever go into the casino and play blackjack and play roulette and play VLTs. Do you guys ever do that, or are you guys just strictly poker? Because I think you are. I think the answer is yes, but I could be wrong.
I personally just play poker. I don't play...
Jay, same thing?
Yeah, you know what? A lot of the pro players, like I mentioned earlier, if those little things, those external factors that turn you from a break-even or barely winning player, that turns you into a losing player. Those little things like betting on sports, betting, playing some blackjack and stuff like that. Like I said, you can be a winning player in poker, but lose your money there. And it's just a double whammy, right?
Yeah. As much as I love sports, I never bet on sports, like ever.
Neither do I.
Ever. It's so weird. Even if I know who's going to, like, for example, Ovechkin's one of my favorite players. I love the Capitals. They won the Stanley Cup last year. I had every reason to bet against, when everybody was on the hype train with Las Vegas. And if you put $200, you can win $50K if you did it at the beginning of the year. And everybody was talking about all this money they were winning. I never, ever bet. Even though it was my favorite player playing in Game 7, I would have put just $100 on him. I just never bet on sports. I don't like sports like that. I love sports, but I'm not the betting guy on them. I just want to enjoy watching
You're
it.
An actual
Is that weird?
No, that's not weird at all.
Because I'm like the only guy that I know in my group of friends that doesn't play, sports select.
I think it just adds a little bit of excitement to it. But if you're an actual sports fan, what's the point of betting on it?
But I never do. I found that weird. Like ever. Mm-hmm. Not like I just don't remember the time I did. I just don't.
When I put up money, my own money to play, I want to make sure I can control my own destiny. Do you know what I mean? So if I'm going to bet.
Not leave it for a bunch of hulky guys.
Yeah, exactly. Right? So I want to make sure like I have a chance of. You have to give yourself the best chance to win.
Yeah.
Right. So you have to control that.
Yeah.
You can't just like put money and then pray to the gods that you're gonna like win. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's what I mean by when people say poker is gambling. Yeah, there's an element of luck or variance to it.
Yeah.
But for the most part, it's strategic, like you said.
Yeah.
And there's ways to win without getting a hand. That's the skill part of trying to win without having a hand, because you can't always have a hand.
Yeah. Most of the time, sports are on when you're playing poker, so you get to see what's happening. And so exactly. I find that somebody's gambling. And before we end this podcast, I really want to talk about something important that I'm not into, but obviously I hear a lot about, is poker online. That's become a big thing. So for people out there, all these rules and everything we're talking about, they apply to home games in the casino, but a lot of it is played online. There's some people that play online while they're playing poker at the casino. So they're playing Poker Stars. So what's up with this whole online epidemic of poker? Is it real? Are people, because most of the time people don't play it like me. Like I don't play it online, but if I did, I'd be so worried about some hacking going on and people seeing the cards or a group of guys. Collusion. A group of guys like getting together and plotting out against you or fishing out that weak person, but not doing it in a poker way where they're just figuring out how to find out what you have, and sometimes you're not getting your money back. So what's up with online? Do you guys have any experience with it? Do you play it? Do you care about it?
I'll go quick. I'm fast. I barely have time to come out to these ones, so I don't play any online. I think it's rigged, and that's my opinion.
You barely had time for this podcast.
I know.
Appreciate it.
I gotta fly out soon.
Well, yeah, your flight leaves in a couple hours.
No, yeah, at 11.
Well, I'm gonna go visit you in Cologne.
Sounds good.
I'm actually very neutral on that. Sometimes I do feel like it's rigged, but at the same time, I did place second in a tournament for $5,800 US. So you can win money on there. Can you win and not face suckouts all the time?
Yeah.
No. You'll definitely face a lot of suckouts and bad beats like you.
But when you face a
see.
suckout, do you think that you've been robbed in some way?
It seems like
more
it
than
sometimes
just a poker game. Just like, hey, so how did he know?
Yeah,
like, what guy would make that call?
The dumbest calls, like those kind of things. It starts to question, like, make you question whether there's cheaters out there. But I mean, I encourage, if you don't want to spend a lot of money, you can buy in tournaments for like $1. 50 cents. You can play cash games for $2.
Yeah.
It's a lot cheaper than going to the casino where the lowest stakes are 1-2 and the minimum buy-in
they have
is
1
about
penny,
$100.
2 penny, don't they?
Yeah.
Yeah, they
one
have
penny,
like
2
something
pennies.
small. Yeah.
If you're a learning player and you want to play some poker, it's
and you can play free.
Yeah.
So we're not just like online like you need a credit card. Like there's like fun money.
The free stuff. There's nothing in line, so everyone just goes all in.
Yeah, that's
like if you wanted to learn the game, unless you have a bunch of dummies on there, just going to teach you everything wrong with the game. Okay, yeah, I just want to talk about online because I myself don't do it, but I know a lot of people do. A lot of people are successful at it, but I just always worry that it's online. It's not real cards, real people. Even though it is, but it isn't. You know what I mean? I don't know what's going on behind the scenes. I'm kind of leaving it up to chance, but you're always second guessing yourself when you make a move that should have never been called. And,
always, you always have to analyze and improve. You have to make
you
always have to look back and think, could I play it better? And if the answer is yes, then you just have to make adjustments and not make the same mistake. And if you played it right, but got a bad beat or a suck out, you just have to suck it up and get on to the next one.
That is awesome. Well, I appreciate this conversation about poker because I've been wanting to have it for a long time, especially with you two. So when you reached out to me, Johnny, I was like, this is perfect. That's the one guy I would want in here. I hope next time you come, that trophy's like 4 times the size.
I hope so.
And you take out something big.
I hope next time I've got one too.
Yeah, I was just going to say,
we'll both come back.
I should have started with Jay. Like, Jay, where's your trophy? I can't wait to see that one. But I know Johnny's obviously working on improving and getting better and better at poker. So I hope next time I see you, the fucking trophy doesn't even fit in the studio.
Oh, we'll work together. We'll get there.
So you're kind of helping him out in a way. You look after him when it comes to advice on poker and how to play the game.
He ran some hands by me, and I'm not a pro by any means, but I've seen like a lot.
But you're good. Yeah. You're good.
I can give him a different perspective. Not saying it's the right one, but I can give him like throw things around, right?
Yeah. If you're taking poker seriously, definitely talk about hands.
Hey, Tangier.
Different people and get another perspective on it, right?
Yeah.
It's always good to, like, you may think you made the right play, but when you talk about the hand specifically to someone that actually knows about the game as well, and they can tell you where you went wrong or whatever it may be, that actually helps you learn and think about that spot for the future, right? And again, seeing hands, that's what gets you the experience.
Yeah.
So.
Plus, I think when you like, let's say you're involved in a hand that you make a decision on, and all of a sudden you call Johnny and you're asking him about it, he's not emotionally invested in that hand, where your decision could have been made.
Actually, I am. Sometimes in the past, we have actually played a tournament almost together. We were FaceTiming, and he was playing a tournament online, and we he'd say, "What should I do here? What should I do there?" And I would just give him my ideas. Not that it's right, but it gives him.
No, but I'm saying with him asking you about a particular hand, you might be able to give him the best advice because you're not there. That guy didn't piss you off 5 minutes ago. That guy didn't river
objective
you.
opinion.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I feel like having that outside of the box opinion would kind of take out all the emotional things that he was using to make that decision at the time, where you're not invested that way. You're just thinking about the game and the smartest way to play that hand.
Yeah, you hit the nail right on the head, because he was an emotional player. Yeah. So what you're saying actually hits home, because that's actually what happened with him.
I figured, that's why I said it. Just kidding. That was a total guess. But I want to see you in Kelowna. I'll probably head out there, like I said, in the next month, maybe for Christmas, because I have a friend there I have two friends there that I promised I'd stop by and see. So now that I know that you're in Kelowna, because I thought it was just Vancouver.
No.
Yeah, so
it's too expensive there. I have to win 10 tournaments to live there.
That's true. It is expensive, hey?
That's just to pay the rent.
Is playing there a lot different than playing here, or is it just
there's no poker there?
There's no poker there.
It's all in Alberta now. The tournaments, anyways.
Yeah. So you fly in when you see family and friends, but you try to get in a tournament.
Yes, I coordinate it together, so I just knock off 2 birds with 1 stone.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for coming by, boys. I appreciate it. I missed you at work the other day, but where are you now? Northgate?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll stop by and see you there, just to say hi.
Yeah,
you don't actually do anything for me besides just seeing your face,
it's
right?
pretty boring there sometimes. So
you need somebody like me to walk in there, cheer the place up a little bit.
Yeah.
We got to give a shout out to all the guys back home, all the donkeys, JPT, MAM, Sloaner, my family, friends. Thanks.
Yeah, we said we're going to do that at the beginning. Fuck, we almost signed out without
there
it.
You go.
Yeah, exactly.
Jeez. Well, like I said, I'll see you in Kelowna. Jay, I'll see you soon, and hopefully next time you come back, we have bigger and better things to talk
Thanks,
about.
bro.
Yeah,
and
thanks a lot,
I
Omar.
appreciate you guys coming by and educating us a little bit on poker and Omaha and Pineapple and online.
And bingo. And
yeah, I think we'll have to have another one, because driving away or flying away, you're going to be on a plane, probably thinking about a couple of things. Man, you know what I should have talked about, or I should have mentioned, because we probably missed a couple of things.
That's usually what happens.
Yeah, so we'll do round 2 sometime in the future, and then hopefully we got other things to discuss.
See how much interest you get.
You'll have 100,000 subscribers by
Negative
then.
4 views. Like, how is that possible?
Damn. I guess we won't be back.
Yeah, if I'm not allowed on YouTube anymore, I know it's going to be your fault in that trophy. That's
Sorry, bro.
All right, boys, take care. Have a safe flight back to Kelowna.
Thank you. I'll see you next month.
Yeah, well, month and a half.
Sounds good.
Before Christmas.
Okay.
I'll see you soon.
Yeah, we're
We'll
always
see each
around.
other. Yeah.
All right. Thanks, boys.
Bro.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.